So, ladies and gentlemen, today we have a very interesting video because some of the questions that we've had have been answered, but there's also more exciting news that I didn't expect, which is also good news. More leaks and rumors, and potentially a look at something new Switch 2 hardware adjacent, I guess. It's kind of hard to explain, but let's go and get right into this video. So yeah, today is a day where we have a video just full of exciting topics. Whether it's a rumor, a leak, news, or an official update, it's all very exciting. Some of it it's not like tricky, but I still think it's kind of like deceiving a little bit, and that is for that new Switch 2 model that is confirmed to be coming out later this year. We're seeing an insight into that, and it's like, this is not what I thought that was going to be. We have huge Switch 2 games that are on the way. Some of them are rumored. And I think I also found something that could potentially be for Nintendo Switch 2 Sports. At least that's what I'm thinking right now. So before we get started, if you could hit a like and subscribe, that would mean the world. We are 30 subscribers away from 33,000. Also, if you could follow me on Instagram and Twitter, well, hey, that would be awesome. And now let's go and get right into this. So the first thing I want to do quickly is talk about a new game that is coming over to the Switch 2, or I guess this is already on the Switch 2 if I'm not mistaken, but this is going to be for the DLC as well, and a Switch 2 edition, and that is Once Upon a Katamari. This came out, I believe, in 2025, and I don't think really many people played it. I kind of feel like if you've played one Katamari game, you've played them all, and one of the things I always said that I was not a fan of is the controls. Like, they work, but they're just kind of not the best to me. So the reason why I want to talk about this is getting an official Switch 2 edition that actually supports mouse controls, and there's also going to be new DLC that day as well. But I think this actually might be one of the best catalysts to really showcase mouse controls. Like, mouse controls are cool because it can be an alternative, or you could just use a controller or whatever. But this, in my opinion, is actually going to fix the controls 100%. And I think it's a game that I could see myself playing predominantly or only with mouse controls. So I'm very excited for this one, really. And if I didn't mention the date, I believe that is coming out October 8th. Now, earlier in the video, I was saying that I felt like Nintendo was, maybe it wasn't even Nintendo, right? But I felt like we were deceived by, we have this new Switch 2 model coming out in Europe later this year. And allegedly it's going to be one where you can take out the battery and repair it yourself. And alongside that, we were going to have the Switch 2 Joy-Cons, but also, I guess, the Switch Joy-Cons. And they are not selling the Switch model, though, after that. I don't even think they ever said they were going to stop selling the Switch Joy-Cons, just the original Switch 1 model. So today, Nintendo has shown us, like, the procedure to change the battery in the Joy-Con. I don't believe they showed us anything for the Joy-Con 2 yet, but I'm going to assume it's the same process. And this isn't just like pop off the back and replace the battery. I've done a Joy-Con replacement before because I had drift on one of my Joy-Cons. I followed a YouTube tutorial, ordered something off Amazon. It took me like 20 minutes, but it was like, I felt like a million steps. And this is not really any different than that. It will require performing 13 steps as well as purchasing the replacement kit. It has a replacement battery, which, there's a model number here. You also need this set Phillips screwdriver, plastic tweezers, plastic spudger, which I think pulls apart the battery and other things, double-sided adhesive tape with blue protective film, and, etc. So this isn't just a very easy fix. It's still like a nightmare to change, in my opinion. So Nintendo is technically giving you the right to replace it, but all I think they did is maybe make some of the screws easier to access, and that seems like that's it. And before we get into some of the bigger updates, a game that I have my eye on, but it's like, well, I heard bad things about this on PlayStation 5 and other consoles, so it just doesn't seem like it's going to work, or it might just make sense to wait and get this on a different console on a sale or something, and that is for Dragon's Dogma 2. Now, I never beat Dragon's Dogma on the Switch, but I did think it was a great game. It was pretty fun. It's actually pretty difficult, I believe it came out on the PlayStation 3, so it really shows its age. But Dragon's Dogma 2, I always thought, yeah, that looks like something I would enjoy more. And now the fact this is coming over to the Switch 2, and it's essentially like the deluxe version or whatever, it's coming out with DLC, like it's Dragon's Dogma 2 Dark Arisen. I guess this is like the definitive way to play the game or whatever. We have an update about that today from the developers. And it says Dragon's Dogma 2's Nintendo Switch 2 frame rate is exceeding our expectations as Capcom devs boast about performance improvements. This sounds so promising. And there's a couple things to take away from this, right? Number one, this seems like it's going to be a great port and we get it. That's cool. Number two, this is Capcom, who is knocking every hit out of the park with every single port on the Switch 2. And number three, I think this really bodes well for Monster Hunter Wilds. What the hell is a new Monster Hunter game called? I think Wilds or something like that. This bodes well for that. That's a game that nobody thought would ever come to the Switch 2. And to see what Capcom is doing, not just once or twice, but every single time with the Switch 2, yeah, man, I just think that's going to be another port that we know that they're developing now that's just going to be great down the road. So now let's start getting into some bigger updates. There is a game that was shown off over a year now, right? What day did the Nintendo Switch 2 Direct happen? Like the hour-long presentation. It came out in June, so May, April. I think maybe April is when we got that big presentation. So April of 2025 is when the Duskbloods was first shown off. And I think since then we've got one more small trailer that was about a minute long, or I could be making this up in my head. We know absolutely nothing about this game. Well, we know it's multiplayer, it's from software, and we also know it's a Switch 2 exclusive, but that's really it. But now we have a huge update about this, and it sounds great. So the Duskbloods closed network test will take place on the dates and times shown in the image below. And starting on July 22nd, which is a Wednesday, you can register for the official network test. And the official network test will start on August 21st and go until August 24th. So I think I read somewhere else that when you sign up on July 22nd, like that's the first day you can sign up. I believe there's a 1 week period that you can sign up. I think it runs until the 29th, but you have to have a Nintendo expansion pass, if I'm not mistaken. So if you have the $5 a month Nintendo online membership, I don't think that will cut it. I could be wrong, so maybe look that up, but I do believe I read somewhere that you have to have the expansion pass. But again, like I said, I could be wrong. But just know you have to have some kind of Nintendo Online membership to be able to sign up for this. And this is actually interesting because in a little over a month, at the absolute latest, we know we will have our first real look at what this game is and how it plays and what's the point of it. And that's pretty exciting. So yeah, if this is happening in August, I really think October or November is really starting to look like it's going to be when this game does release. So at least we have some kind of update. Now a game that we've all, I don't want to say expected to come over to the Switch 2, but at the same time, kind of. But we all think it would be great on the Switch 2, especially if you've already played it. That is Expedition 33, or Clair Obscur Expedition 33. A lot of you guys know I love JRPGs and turn-based whatever. It's one of my favorite genres. And I didn't buy into the hype at first. I think the game came out and I probably got it like 4 months later on the PS5. And while I was playing it, I was like, yeah, man, this game is incredible. I like the music. The story, you know, a lot of people thought it was one of the best stories ever. I thought it was okay. The characters were okay. But the gameplay really was great. And I had a good time. But it was funny because once I beat the game, I never thought like, man, that was one of the greatest games I've ever played ever. Oh my God, this is insane. I just thought, yeah, that was pretty good. But I do think this game would fit right at home on the Switch 2. And I also think the developers of the game would love to get it on the Switch 2 because it would fit right at home. So today we have, I guess, like I don't know if it's so much as a leak, but it's like, I don't even know what the hell you would call this. Yeah, I guess it's a leak off another leak. And just know it's coming from Nash Weedle, so you're like, whoa, what are we doing here? But before that, it's coming from Nate the Hate, so I don't know. We'll talk about it, and then we'll get to the good stuff that, you know, like they're bringing up. So rumor, Clair Obscur Expedition 33 on Switch 2 wouldn't be in game key card format and would bring new features. It's Nash Weedle who confirms Nate the Hate statements by adding that the game would even bring new features, no details on whether it be exclusive to the Switch 2 version. He also adds, if what he's heard about the game's distribution pans out, the physical version shouldn't be a game key card. The game was 42 gigabytes on PS5, and obviously we have a 64 gigabyte cartridge on the Switch 2, so that's good. Also, I feel like with a game like this, like I know it's an indie game technically, but it truly dominated. But there's just games that feel like no matter what, they will be on cartridge for one reason or another. And I feel like this is one of those games. And if we get another Nintendo Direct, like, which is probably going to happen, you know, there's just so many things Nintendo needs to talk about, games that have been rated, blase blase. If we get that other big Nintendo Direct in September, I think this would be one of those games that they would save towards the end, like before Nintendo gets into their, you know, final announcements. I could see Expedition 33 getting a nice 2-minute segment with a pre-order date. Honestly, it would probably be one of those games that launches that day on the eShop and then a physical comes a few months later or something. And I could see them incentivizing this by adding whatever these extra features are that Nate the Hate and Nashudo are talking about. Like, I don't know if it would be exclusive to the Switch 2. I don't know what they could really do. Maybe add some more outfits, because, you know, that's one of the things in the game is like you'll get new outfits for your characters. I can't remember these like little stat abilities that you can stack onto your character, but there was like a million of them, so maybe some of those, and maybe some other kind of game modes with bosses, or, you know, there's things they could honestly do. So even though I beat this on the PS5 and I thought it was just, I don't want to say like just good, because that makes it sound like it wasn't fun or great, but I think on the Switch 2, man, this game could have a complete second life. And before we get out of here, I seen 2 new patents today. Actually, I think they came out yesterday at the time of recording this video. But I seen 2 new patents, and they're both very interesting. There's one that is straight up, I'm looking at like the thumbstick on my Pro Controller. It's not the thumbstick from the Pro Controller, because this is too tall to be it. This looks a lot more similar to what it is, the actual Joy-Con thumbstick. But it's weird because Nintendo's already detailed those patents 100%. So it's probably not that. It could be for a new Joy-Con 2. It could be for the Joy-Con 2 that's coming out maybe in Europe at the end of the year, or maybe for a special themed one or something. It's just something different. But there's also like these little, trying to look for the little, I don't even know how I'd have them, but you know, like the, God, I don't even have them. The straps that would go around the Joy-Cons that you would put on your wrist. It looks like those, but the clips look completely different, and I feel like these would be for Nintendo Switch 2 Sports. So here's these clips. Yeah, I don't think these ever came with the Switch 2 Joy-Cons. Like, I don't even have the little ropes or whatever anymore. If it even came with those, I don't remember. But at the top of these, it looks like they would disconnect very easy. So again, this could be for Nintendo Switch 2 Sports, or since this patent came out the same day as that weird thumbstick for a new Joy-Con 2 or whatever, this might be for the new Joy-Con 2s. Like, they've just fixed it all the way around. So I don't know, can't really say for sure. And then right here you can actually see like the thumbsticks that I was talking about. They're not anything different, but what's interesting in both these patents is Nintendo doesn't say anything about what's going on, what it is. They are vague. They're just saying you can see the figure in these 10 photos, and that's it. They're not explaining what it does, what it is, anything like that. And 99% of the time they will break down a patent to like a million words, you know what I mean? There's literally 0 details describing what these both are. So it almost seems like a new Joy-Con 2 is on the way, and I just can't tell if that would be for that European console, maybe, you know what I mean? Or maybe that revised Switch 2 that might have a new LCD screen, or hell, maybe even the Switch 2 OLED, which is probably not that. So I do think we're going to be getting a revision near the end of this year here in America, as well as like the one that's rolling out in Europe. But ladies and gentlemen, what do you think about this? Because your opinion matters most. So in the comments below, I would love to hear from you guys. Truly, it would mean the world to me. And if you made it to this part of the video, if you could do me a favor, hit a like and subscribe on the way out. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram on the way out, and consider becoming a channel member, because I would really appreciate it. And you guys know me, I'll see you very soon with a new video. Peace.